I've been thinking about this all week, and it's been bugging me more than it should. I keep hearing myself say the same sentence: I've been just slammed. And it sounds harmless, responsible even. But the truth is, I've been slammed for a long time, and the business doesn't feel lighter, doesn't feel safer, doesn't feel clearer. That's why this topic exists right now, because being busy is quietly killing a lot of businesses, and most owners don't even realize it's happening. I'm not talking about fake busy, I'm talking about real busy, calendar full, phone buzzing, always something to respond to, always someone waiting on you. That kind of busy that makes you feel important, the kind that gives you a clean excuse for why things aren't where they should be yet. From the outside, it looks like commitment, discipline, leadership. From the inside, it feels like anxiety with the to do list. And if you're a business owner, there's a good chance you're confusing busyness with progress right now. Here's the part nobody says out loud. Most owners aren't busy because the business truly requires it. They're busy because stillness makes them uncomfortable. Stillness forces reflection. Reflection forces honesty. And honesty forces change. Busy lets you avoid all three. Right now, busyness is socially acceptable. Admitting confusion isn't. Admitting fear definitely isn't. Admitting that you don't actually know what matters anymore feels dangerous. So instead, you stay busy. You answer everything. You touch everything. You make yourself indispensable. And slowly, the business becomes dependent on your exhaustion. That's not leadership. That's a bottleneck. I didn't fully see this until I had a day where nothing blew up. No fires, no emergencies, no one needed me, just space. And I had no idea what to do with it. That's when it clicked. This wasn't a workload problem, it was an identity problem. Busyness had become my default state, not because it was necessary, but because it was familiar. When you're busy, you don't have to think. You just react, and reaction feels productive, especially when people are watching. But here's where it gets most dangerous. Busyness doesn't just take your time, it takes your judgment. When your day is packed wall to wall, you're not making decisions, you're making reactions. You respond to what's loudest, you fix what's closest, you handle whatever is right in front of you, and slowly, without realizing it, you stop leading. You start managing chaos. That feels responsible, it feels like you're on top of things, but you're actually letting your environment decide what matters. Your calendar starts lying to you. It tells you everything on it is important. But importance isn't determined by who booked time first. Urgency is not the same as value. And when you're busy, you lose the ability to tell the difference. I noticed this when I realized my best energy was being spent on my least important work: emails, internal questions, tiny decisions other people could have handled. I was answering fast and thinking slow. That's backwards. Responsiveness gets praised in business. People love saying I'm always available or I get back to everyone. But availability isn't leadership. A lot of the time, availability is avoidance. It lets you feel needed without being effective. And here's the trap. The more responsive you are, the more demand you create. People learn you're the fastest path. So they bring you everything: questions, problems, decisions. And because you're busy, you don't push back. You just handle it. Not because you want control, because you don't want conflict. Saying no feels rude. Deferring feels irresponsible. Slowing things down feels risky. So you tell yourself you'll fix it later. You'll restructure later. You'll set boundaries when things calm down. Things don't calm down on their own. They calm down when you force clarity. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Being busy feels good when you're unsure. It gives you something measurable. You can point to your schedule and say, "Look how much I did." But activity isn't progress, and progress doesn't care about your full calendar. This is why so many owners feel stuck while working nonstop. They're running reactive businesses, not intentional ones. I had to confront this when I couldn't answer one simple question. If I canceled half my meetings next week, which ones actually matter? The silence after that question was loud because it exposed how much of my time was filler, not useless, but not decisive. And decisive work is what moves a business forward. The busier you are, the less decisive you can become. Decisions require space. They require thought. They require the ability to say, this matters more than that. Busyness removes that space. It replaces thinking with motion, and motion is seductive. It makes you feel like you're doing something even when you're not. That's why truly effective people often look slower. They're not frantic, they're selective. They know what matters. Because of that, they don't look busy, they look calm. Calm gets misread as lazy by people who are drowning in task, but calm is usually the result of hard choices. Now, here's the version of busyness nobody wants to admit, the heroic version. You're the fixer, the closer, the decision maker, the person everyone goes to. On the surface, that looks like leadership. Underneath, it's usually fear. Fear that if you step back, things will fall apart. Fear that if you slow down, you'll lose control. Fear that if you're not involved in everything, you'll become irrelevant. So you stay in the middle, and the busyness quietly organizes itself around your exhaustion. Your busyness trains the busyness. It teaches people not to think. It teaches them to escalate instead of decide. It teaches them that speed matters more than judgment. And then you wonder why you can't unplug. You built a system that requires you to be busy to function. I had to be honest about this in my own life. There were decisions I didn't need to be making, questions I didn't need to be answering, problems I solved because it was faster than teaching. And every time I did that, I told myself I was helping. I wasn't. I was weakening the business and strengthening my workload. Being the hero feels good in the short term. It feeds your ego, it feeds your identity, but it kills leverage because the more essential you are to every decision, the less sustainable the business becomes because you have to be involved with everything. And sustainability isn't about size, it's about whether the business can function without burning you alive. If you can't step away for a day without things slowing down, you don't own a business, you own a very stressful job. Busyness hides this. It gives you a reason to feel needed. It distracts you from the reality that the businesses can't operate without you. That's not a strength, that's a liability. I noticed I was proud of how busy I was. That should have been a warning sign. Pride in busyness usually means something else is missing. Clarity, structure, trust. I told myself things wouldn't get done if I wasn't involved. Maybe that was true. Maybe that was also my fault because I'd created an environment where speed was rewarded and escalation was normal. That's not leadership, that's panic management. Here's the shift that actually matters. Slowing down doesn't mean doing less, it means deciding first. Most owners try to fix busyness with efficiency, better tools, better systems, better scheduling. That helps a little, but it doesn't fix the core issue. Efficiency just helps you react faster. It doesn't help you choose better. The real shift is moving from responsiveness to intentionality, and that shows up in small ways. You stop answering everything immediately. You stop jumping into every conversation. You stop treating every problem like it needs your personal touch. You create space before you decide. That space is where leadership lives. I had to relearn how to let things wait. Waiting felt irresponsible. Waiting felt risky, but most things don't need immediate action. They need the right action. When you let things sit, something interesting happens. Some problems solve themselves. Some become irrelevant. Some expose who actually owns them, and some were never problems at all. Busyness steals that clarity. It forces you to treat everything as equal. Nothing is equal. That's a lie your calendar tells you. Here's another hard truth. If your business collapses when you slow down, it wasn't strong. It was just running on your adrenaline. And deep down, you know that. That's why stepping back makes you anxious. You don't trust what you've built yet, so you compensate with your presence. Presence feels like control. But control isn't leadership. Leadership is building something that works without you hovering over it. I still fight the urge to jump in, especially when money feels tight. That's when busyness is most seductive. It gives you the illusion of control when control feels fragile. But every time I override that urge and let the business breathe, something improves. Not instantly, structurally. People step up. Decisions get made. The business starts acting like a system instead of an extension of my nervous system. Most owners never make this shift. They stay busy forever. They stay needed forever. They stay tired forever. And then they wonder why the business never gives anything back. Here's the real takeaway. If you're busy all the time, You're probably avoiding something, a decision, a boundary, a hard conversation, a restructuring. Busyness is what we choose when we don't want to choose. And choosing is the job, not doing, choosing. If this hit, don't fix everything. Just notice where your time actually goes. Notice what you react to. Notice what you avoid. That awareness alone changes behavior. And if you want help redesigning these things so your business stops running on your exhaustion, that's what I do. Not by making you busier, by helping you decide what actually deserves your attention.